Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. I have the privilege of being here with the Senior Associate Dean of Admissions. Senior Assistant.
Thank you
Dean
for the promotion.
of Admissions here at UTRGV School of Medicine. Thank you for being here, Betty.
You're very welcome.
And so we want to jump straight into the application process, get to the do's, the don'ts, and for the individuals reapplying. But first, I kind of want to give people that are watching the idea of the type of people that are applying and the quality of individuals matriculating, because I think it's important to know your competition.
So for this entering class, the class that's coming in on July 5th, it's a very competitive class. The MCAT, the mean MCAT is about a 508.
Oh, man.
We're running 3.5 and above in GPAs. And it's really a very diverse class. We have 4 individuals that have terminal degrees,
Wow.
JD, PharmD, 2 PhDs. The youngest is 20 and the oldest is 41. So it's very diverse, not just ethnically, but gender, age, career, everything.
Right. Wow. And so I wanted to start with that because I think it's so important for the individuals applying to understand the range and the scope of people that get accepted to medical school, in that you can be in their 40s, you can be in your 20s with all different types of backgrounds
Correct.
and all different types of education bases. So no matter who you are and what kind of background you have, if you are competitive in certain aspects, medical school can be for you. And that's what I want to jump into the application process. So we know that everyone looks at the MCAT,
Right.
Everyone looks at the GPA, everyone looks at the personal statement. Those are things that you can easily look at, kind of the mean averages and where you lie. But what are some things as an admissions dean that you look at through applications that stand out, things that they should be focused on?
Okay. First of all, UTRGV School of Medicine does a holistic review, which means that for us, every part of the application weighs the same.
Okay.
So you'll see that we've accepted students with, let's say, a 500 MCAT, and we've accepted students with a 520 MCAT. The difference being that the student perhaps with the 500 MCAT had such a compelling application in all other facets that the admissions committee felt very strong in bringing that applicant in. So the key is that you must meet the minimum fund of knowledge. We need to know that you have the smarts to do the program.
Right.
Once we do that, the metrics go out the door, and then let's see what you've been up to.
Okay.
If you've been sitting on a beach with a little umbrella drink, and that is not going to cut it in medical school.
Right.
So there's certain things that really will enhance your application.
Okay, so you touched on students that have maybe a below average MCAT or below average GPA.
Correct.
So I know GPA is kind of hard to change after you graduate from undergrad. So what can students focus on that maybe have a subpar below average GPA to maybe make the rest of their application stand out?
Well, certainly shadowing is a very important part. We need to know that the student knows exactly what doctors do.
Right.
Not just what they see on ER or, Grey's Anatomy or whatnot, that they have a realistic view of the career. We need to know that they have thought about this, and it's just not because they rescued their dog from a drowning pool when they were 5, that this is what it was meant to do.
Right.
That they're serious about this and have given it some thought and are ready to make a sacrifice, because medicine is a lifelong learning career.
Absolutely.
It's not, accounting where if you make a mistake you could erase it,
Right.
or anything like that. You're dealing with life and death.
Absolutely.
So it's a very serious career. Very rewarding, but you're basically an indentured servant for 4 years. And so you must be really committed and have a support system.
You guys are lucky, because I wish I would have known some of this information while I was applying. Because you're telling me it's not like Grey's Anatomy. That's no. And then before we wrap up the do's, is there any advice for first-time appliers? Just anything to focus on, maybe applying early or...
Applying early for us is a must. we have rolling admissions, and we only have 50 seats at this time. So the early bird catches the worm. Once we have the 51st acceptance, obviously we can't let the applicants know until November per Texas law, but then we have a very extensive wait list. I always tell my applicants, where there's a will, there's a way. If you really want to be a doctor, you will do everything that's necessary to have the adequate preparation to succeed in medical school.
Right. And I couldn't have said it better. I talked about it in my last video that if you have true belief that you want to be a doctor, you will do whatever it takes to be a doctor.
Correct.
And so moving into the next category, I kind of want to talk about the big no-nos of the application. I'm sure you've gone through thousands of applications and seen definitely what not to do. And so, I don't know, maybe starting with the picture that you send.
Yes. Whatever you do, don't send a picture with your application of you with that famous drink with a little umbrella, that or a palm tree in the back, or sand. That's just not going to cut it. Don't send a picture with that you just cut out at a bar scene with, let's say, social dressing. So be cognizant of the people who are going to see this picture.
Right.
Remember that most admissions committee are us old folks, not your generation. So if you have 5 earrings, be conservative, take perhaps only 2 earrings, but know your audience. Be truthful and be sincere. The key is to let the people that interview you and the people that are reading your essay to convey why you want to become a doctor. And it's not because my grandfather was one, my father was one, and now it's expected of me. That won't cut it.
Right. And so how about, I know there's a space to put in all your extracurricular activities. Should I be including my participation trophies from middle school?
No. Nothing from middle school or high school unless it was perhaps a research project that you started in high school that you have continued. But no, we're not interested that you won, Little Leaguer of the Year in, 8th grade or whatever. No. We're interested in mainly what you did during your undergrad years, what you did in your summers, how you compartmentalized your time, and are you altruistic? That's what this school is looking for. Do you mind getting your hands dirty? If you see a homeless person on a sidewalk, do you stop and see what you could do, or are you just like the crowd and passes that person by? This is something that we look at because we're in a very underserved area, as you know, and the health disparities are many and the need is great.
Absolutely. And I think she puts it in such a great way that you have to be able to get your hands dirty. You have to be able to be open to change. And especially at UTRGV, we're a new program, and it's important that you're able to kind of go with the flow with the punches. And you can take that and apply it to really any school you're applying to, because nothing is going to be picture perfect and nothing is going to be the way you just drew it up. And so being able to roll with whatever the tide brings just makes you a better applicant. If you're able to show that in your application, it'll really work wonders for you. So now I want to move to the reapplication process. And I was a reapplicant. I had to reapply actually twice, and I didn't get in until my 3rd time.
Really?
Yeah.
And we took you? It must have been a very, very...
Well, we can go into my story regarding my reapplication. It's actually a great story. We can have a whole other episode dedicated for my process. But so I know with reapplication, it's tough because it's easy to mope. It's easy to get down on yourself. But let's start with an individual that got an interview, but didn't get accepted. What do you recommend to them going into next year's application cycle? Maybe what to do in the meantime?
Well, I would strongly suggest that they contact the school and see if the admissions team would meet with them and go over their application and see how they, why perhaps he or she didn't get chosen. Perhaps their application is fine, but it was just like us, we have only 50 seats.
Right.
We could have filled 150 if we had the seats because we had that many capable individuals. But see how you could strengthen your application. What perhaps the nuances that you conveyed. Were you very nervous during your interview? Were you very emotional? Feedback is key when you're reapplying.
Absolutely.
Do not just recycle your application because everyone sees the application from before.
Right.
So, and they're going to ask you, what did you do different? How did you augment your application? So if you have perhaps a borderline MCAT, take the MCAT again, study for it. If you need to take some courses, take them again. If you need to do a little bit more shadowing, make sure that the admissions office knows on that second of that repeat application that you've not just been hanging around, just moping, waiting for someone to give you a chance, that you're actually working towards your goal.
Absolutely. And I said it in my previous episode, but Miss Momford is so correct in it. They're going to ask you, what did you do in your year off? What did you do in between? And if you come back and you said, well, I sat on my couch for a year and now I'm reapplying, that's not going to bode so well for your future.
Exactly.
So it's best to stay involved, whether it's in the health professions field or just doing something you love. It's going to show passion, it's going to show commitment, and it's going to show drive to becoming a physician. So just stay involved. And like Betty said, contact your office of admissions at the schools that you didn't get accepted to. They're most likely going to be more than happy to sit with you and go over the information with you because it's in their best interest that you improve the application and then the school gets the candidate that they want.
We are, I think, one of many schools now that are doing that. I just sent out an email yesterday to all our waitlist candidates saying admissions is closed for this year. However, you have the opportunity that we'd like to review your application if you would like that and, offer options for you to strengthen, see where your weaknesses are. Remember that the ultimate goal is for you to become a physician.
Right.
Whether you come here to the Valley or go to Albany or go to California, the key is for you to become a physician. And it takes a lot of work to get into medical school.
Absolutely.
Aside from a lot of work in medical school. So really think about your career choice and be committed and prepared to do what it takes.
Absolutely. And now we're going to move to individuals that may have not even gotten an interview. So these individuals could have gotten a secondary application or not, but I know that's even tougher at that point. So what do you recommend for students like that?
Again, call not all the schools, obviously, because everyone applies to many schools, but the schools that you're most interested in, and perhaps have them tell you why you weren't chosen for an interview. Was it your metrics? Perhaps was it your MCAT? Or many of my colleagues will be happy to go over this with you. Because again, the more prepared you are, the better our job is.
Right.
So take that extra time and pick up a phone or send a nice little email. Don't pest the admissions office because that will get you nowhere. But do make the effort.
Right.
Make the effort.
Yeah, and
we remember people. We really do.
And I may or may not have been one of those people that pestered the admissions office, but it worked out in my case. Not saying that should be the route for everyone, but I think it's so key that no matter who you are in this reapplication process, I can't stress it enough. Leave the ego at the door.
Oh God, yes.
If you can't assess yourself truthfully and honestly, then you're hindered in improving your application. So assess yourself realistically, contact the Office of Admissions, and they will be more than happy to help you in pursuing becoming a physician.
When I interview applicants, I say, Sean, give me 3 adjectives that describe your weaknesses.
Oh gosh.
Okay. And I might say, give me 3 adjectives that describe, your strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me or not,
just like what I did. I was put on the spot.
So you have to know yourself. You have to know your limitations and, again, the level of commitment.
Right. Well, Ms. Momfort, thank you so much for taking this time out. I'm
You're
sure that
very welcome.
You got a sneak peek inside UTRGV School of Medicine's admissions process.
Correct.
Yeah, and admissions process really that can carry over through all medical schools throughout the United States.
Correct.
Best of luck in your future endeavors, and until next time, thank you.
Bye.